Chunty.
Hello, welcome to CHUNTCAST 37. I am your host, Uncle Chunt, talking head from down under, budding comic book creator and man in the middle. Before we begin, if you haven't already, please consider joining the Chunt Corps, as there's social links below, or unclechunt.com, and you can find me there and you can be a part of what we do here and join in the conversation. So, how have you been? Before we've got all that out of the way, I just want to know, I hope you're okay and doing well. A bit of news that's been going on in some of the Twitter sphere, in my circles anyway, if you know what that's about. Just, you know, be good to each other, man. Seriously, it's not worth getting angry over stuff that you have no control over. Anyway, I had a good weekend so far. It's been pretty good. I took part on Generosity's charity stream with courtesy of Sin Spacies. That was a good time. A couple of hours just to talk some games and just, you know, talk some smack for a bit and just enjoy the conversation and enjoying the chat and getting involved and all that kind of stuff. So that was great, and I do recommend if you head over to Sin Spacies Twitch, it's just twitch.tv/Sin Spacies. Man, he puts in so much effort and he enjoys what he does. I don't see anyone, well, not anyone, but I don't see very many people in my circles that are putting in as much effort as he does. So go check him out, check his stuff out, go follow him over there on Twitch. He has a YouTube as well, but he's more active on Twitch these days. But so yeah, I just wanted to give him a shout out, basically for thanking him to inviting me on the show over the weekend. So it was great. It raised, I think, I didn't check the last numbers, but it was over $17,000 towards for charity, for cancer research and all that kind of stuff. So I'm pretty happy to be a part of that, even for, you know, a few moments or a couple of hours or whatever. Anyway, so you can probably see there's a big boy. I've got a new baby boy in my home. I've name dropped this guy a few times the last couple of years. Looking forward to him arriving. I'm going to upload a separate video. I did not have time to do it. I was going to make it part of this episode. I just did not have time to do it. I've been busy doing other things and you know, enjoying myself and company of others. So, but you can see him over there. He's like 30 inches tall. Keep an eye out for the video. I'm going to upload a separate one just on the channel, just of the transformation and unboxing and whatnot, so you can get a good feel for the scale of the thing. Man, it was, not gonna lie, the transformation at first was pretty difficult, and it started to annoy me. I did follow the instructions, but they just weren't clear. I had to put on a YouTube video or two just to kind of figure out what I'm doing so I didn't break anything. Anyway, it's quite durable. I was being overly careful with it, but it's a one of a kind, basically made to order straight from Hasbro themselves. It's not something you can just go out and buy in retail. So yeah, that's why I'm being a bit extra careful for it. Anyway, keep an eye out for that, as I've said 3 times now on the video, on the channel, subscribe and all that stuff. So I was name dropping Sin Spacies before. So he submitted a question a while back that I'm finally getting to using in my list of questions that are submitted through. So I'll flip over to that now. So if you want to get a Ask Chunt question in, easiest way to do that is to leave a comment in the comment section below on these videos, or tag me on Twitter with an Ask Chunt hashtag, and I'll file that away and I'll keep it on the list to get to eventually once I work through everybody accordingly. So Sin Spacies, oh wait, hang on, this is the wrong one, Chunt. This is the wrong one. Oh, all right, let's just swap that over. I'm gonna just go back in here and there it is. Right, I had the other one open as a reference for some graphics. So this is Sin Spacies now. Man, you know, my turn to have some technical difficulties because Sin Spacies had a bit on the stream, so it seems to have had a flow-on effect, and it's come to my side of the internet. Anyway, so Ask Chunt, Sin Spacies, he asks, is YouTube full of pretentious wankers, or are there still some decent people out there in the YouTube space? Well, you know, we all know that not everybody is of the same cut of the cloth. So look, yeah, there's a lot of people out on YouTube, from my experience, that just aren't people that you want to deal with or get involved with. I know I've blocked or just disassociated myself from a number of content creators or influencers that they would prefer to be called, but they're just egomaniacs, personalities that just just don't meld or mesh with mine. So I just flick them off, and that's neither here or there. Like, I like to invite people into my circle that I, would actually hang out with, or that I at least can have a good, decent verbatim with, without me getting annoyed by something they say or just their attitude or whatever. Like, I'm pretty particular with who I involve with. That might make me sound like a complete one of these pretentious wankers, but you've only got one life, and the older you get, the less shit you want to deal with and put up with people. So if I do interact with you, it's probably because I like you in some regard. So just take that for what it is. But as far as YouTube out there as a whole, yeah, man, it's just swamp full of them. There's so many people out there that, and unfortunately they're successful at it. I mean, fortunately for them, but unfortunately for the rest of us that are kind of just, decent common folk that are just trying to do our little part on our little side of the internet, and you just never get seen. But these people are just like ruining themselves, ruining their reputation, making them look like, just desperate overreactors and, 30-year-old children, just going around. Just, I don't know. I don't agree with a lot of the mainstream content that's on YouTube. I hate it. I can't stand it. More power to them and their success. But if that's what it takes to be successful on these platforms, I don't want any part of it. Like the Twitch stuff that's happening with the hot tub streams, don't even get me started on that. I do have an opinion on that, and I know it's not a popular one. I'm not going to get into it. If you want me to have my spiel on that, submit an Ask Chunt question. plug. But yeah, the rest of the popular stuff on YouTube, no time for it. I have no care. What I really like to look for on YouTube are people that are doing similar content, or at least in the same mind frame as I am, or social space or pop culture space. You can see right through some people when they just don't care what they're talking about, or they're just like doing the grind because they have to meet the algorithm and stuff. Like, I don't really care for that kind of stuff. Again, I'm not going to naysay on someone that's playing the algorithm and trying to make a go of it. Never would I, I'm not going to be that kind of guy to step on someone like that. But if I want to interact with people out there, it's because I can learn something from them, or they've got something important that they can show me, or something that I haven't experienced before, or if it's a conversation that'll help me kind of figure out my stuff that I'm doing, those kinds of people, which thankfully I am involved in quite a few people like that, and they're doing the same thing, like they're chasing the same dream as well. So it's good to be amongst like-minded people in that regard. So lately, just to answer a very short question with a long answer here, lately I haven't been dealing with many people because I can see all the red flags. I know what the red flags are, I know how to look for them, and I know how to avoid them, and I haven't been interacting with anyone of this description for quite some time. So yes, it's kind of a almost near political answer to this kind of a question, but I'm trying to dance around it. I don't want to be insulting to people, because at the end of the day, we're all out there chasing the same carrot and all that. Personalities, not every personality is meant to mesh well. That's why we're all so different. Anyway, enough of that noise. So thanks for submitting that anyway, Brian at Synth Spaces. Like I said, go check him out, check his stuff out. Puts a lot of effort in, and he's very chill. Like, you won't have, he's not one of these people, I'll just say that. He's a good guy, really good bloke. He's one of the very few people that I see out there in Australian circles, at least that I've seen, that are actually trying to make some kind of a network or make some kind of an Aussie scene. Like, he and I agree on that. Like, there just isn't really one, and we would love to see that happen. Like, you've got American YouTube creators doing it all the time, and that's all you see on YouTube, and we would love to be the equivalent here in Australia. And it's just trying to find the right people to want to put in the same effort that we do, but it's becoming harder and harder to find. And you've got the Aussie Gamers Experience as well. Like, they're just a long stay on the platform, and you know, they've stepped up their game as well, and it's great to see. Like, they're great guys, and they should have far bigger success than they do already. It's criminal. So we're really struggling here in Australia to kind of break through, but we're here doing it anyway. So there's a few plugs there. No one asked me to do any of that, but whatever. I've said to these guys a number of times, if at any point I manage to raise the ladder, you know, and climb it successfully, if at any point I get up there, I'll be taking them with me. You know, like, I want to bring the people up that I want up there with me. So, you know, I'm not trying to sound big or anything like that, but that's the way my mind works. Cool. Anyway, so the actual first topic that I want to actually get onto is a series that I just finished watching, and you probably have heard of it, but funnily enough, I don't see a lot of people in my circle speaking about it. But it's done a very good job. So that series is Amazon's Invincible. So look, I've known about this hero, this character, for quite some time. I've never read the comics. It's one of those like independently kind of produced, I assume. I mean, it's printed through a label, but Robert Kirkman. You're probably familiar with that name from the Walking Dead creator. That's that guy. And he's done a plethora of other projects, but he's most widely known as the Walking Dead creator, and that's the touchstone I'm going to give you for that one. But he's also the creator of this Invincible. It's his superhero baby kind of thing. It's been a long-running comic. I think it wrapped up some years ago, but it's everyone that's read it says it's one of the best comics they've just ever read. One of the best comic runs, best stories, like all the characters and stuff. And yeah, I've just never gotten to it. It's been on my radar for quite some time, but when I saw the trailer last year that they were doing an animated series for it, I was like, oh, okay, sweet, all right, this will be the time. You know, I've always had the interest in curiosity, and now they're giving me something that I can just consume. Excuse me. And man, boy, was it fantastic. Just going to cut right to the chase. I'm not going to spoil anything. It's 8 episodes, so they're like 45 minutes each. So I don't want to ruin anything for you, because there are a lot of moments in this 8 episode run that are just like, whoa, oh my God, I can't believe they did that. Or wow, like I never would have expected that. You know, it's just there's stuff that happens in this show where you're like, God damn it. You know, I don't know how to cross-reference if everything's to the book. Like, it's apparently so close to the source material, like closer than anything else that usually comes out. So I'm just going to take it on a limb here that what you see in the show is near, at least close to dear, as to what is in the comics. So the feel is definitely, I can feel that his touch is in there. It's definitely got the creator's touch in here. It's not just done by studio, by committee. Like, this guy Robert Kirkman, like he's also been in talks, rumors and stuff to actually purchasing DC with a couple other investors. So if that's true, it'll be in great hands. I was going to mention that on a topic months ago, but I'll just mention something here. There's been rumors and stuff going around, speculation, and some people are connecting the right dots with certain posts and names that have been thrown around in articles, that Robert Kirkman's pretty close or is heading buying out DC Comics. So we'll see how that goes. It's not like buying it from Warner Brothers, but he's just buying like the DC Comics branch of that, you know, if that makes sense, and everything there within. So after seeing this, my God, if that's true, I cannot wait to see, you know, how he can fix DC, because it's been up shit creek for quite some time. I'm swearing a bit bit more than normal at the moment, but whatever. Look, back to the show anyway. So the destruction in this show, I'm just going to say it because it's worth mentioning, and it doesn't spoil anything. There are 2 episodes in this series, and I'm not going to tell you at what point that they are in it, but it puts the destruction that people complained about in Man of Steel, and we're like, oh, this is too much. It's too much destruction. Superman never let that happen. Blah blah blah. Like, it puts that to shame. What you see in Man of Steel, this show Invincible puts all of that to shame, and just makes you like, you're just watching the screen going, what am I watching? Like, that is just, it's nearing on too much, but it's in context, it makes sense for what you're seeing, and you're like, yeah, okay, that would happen. You know, I want to tell you a couple of parts, but you need to experience it for yourself. In saying that, touching on that, and it's gory as hell. This show is gory as hell, but it's within. It's not quite just for shock value. It's always with a reason. And when you're dealing with these superpowered beings and whatnot, and you've got, you know, fleshy meat sacks running around called humans, every now and then you're just going to see what happens to them when they meet an unstoppable object, you know, or you know what I mean. And it's just like, wow, I didn't know I wanted to see that until I saw it. So in that aspect, that's entertaining. But it's not, like I said, it's not shock value for no reason. There's always like context behind as to why that just occurred. And leading into that, there's a character called Omni-Man who is voiced by J.K. Simmons. And it's just like, you look at the character and you hear the voice, you're like, yeah, that totally makes sense. That he's just perfect. He just looks the part, sounds the part. And that character, Omni-Man, as a concept and the way they outline it in this show was just thoroughly so entertaining for me. No spoilers here, but my God, just get ready for what you're going to experience through Omni-Man. You know, whoo boy, it was so much fun. I don't know what it says about me, but man, that was so much fun. And Mark Grayson, who's Omni-Man's, well, I mean, you can see it on the screen. It's not a spoiler. I mean, whatever. You see it in trailers. Mark Grayson is Omni-Man's son, voiced by Stephen Yeun. I think that's how you say his name. It's a typical kid gets superpowers origin story, but it just gets so gradually darker over each episode as everything turns out not as he imagined that it would be. Like he's been growing up with this ideal of being a superhero, and he's had this picture in his mind as to what it would be like. And when it finally comes, it just, you see what happens from there and how it's not quite as what he expected. But man, it's such an entertaining series. I'm really dancing around a lot of stuff because there are characters that I can't mention. There are story plot points that I can't mention that would just spoil you and your discovery along the way if you intend to watch it. So I'm trying to be as vague as possible, but giving you reasons why you should watch it and why I enjoyed it. So hopefully that's enough there for you to go on. But my God, like, I wish I could have marathoned this. It came out weekly, and I hate this new trend that they're going back to weekly releases. I just hate it. I would have loved to have binged this 8 episodes in a day and just been like, God damn it, wow, you know. But I understand why they're doing it now, because they want that weekly or near daily social traffic, you know, and the conversation. They want that stuff that's happening. And now we're going back to weekly TV. It's like, God, we've been spoiled for so long and we've been trained to binge things, and now it's starting to get taken away from us. Marvel's doing the same thing. The CW TV show's been doing it as well. I hate it. Just let me have it all at once, thank you. But anyway, it's been greenlit for season 2 and 3, so that if that's another reason for you to go and watch it, knowing that it's good, then you know that there's 2 more seasons coming, so just watch it and wait for the next season, because goddamn, it's a worthy watch. Anyway, so yeah, that's the end of that. Invincible. I am also almost inclined to go and maybe pick up some of the trades for it, just to see what else I was missing in it. It just seemed like a cool concept, and it got my imagination going. It's like, well, wow, okay, like this has happened, and maybe I can make something like this, or maybe it's it'll make me look a little different at my things that I'm working on, and maybe, you know, it could get onto Amazon one day or some other kind of platform depending on what's out there. But yeah, anyway, so it's very comic book heavy today, but there's a bit of gaming news here that I want to kind of talk about that is quite intriguing. So things have been pretty quiet on the NetherRealm Studio front. I mean, you've got post MK11, they've released all their combat packs and stuff, and there's the MK11 Ultimate bundle that you can get out there that just comes with everything, like it's a Game of the Year type edition where they release and it comes out with everything. So I'm going to pick that up when it's on sale soon. But then the conversations turn to some rumors and news that have been kind of dropped or / leaked about NetherRealm Studios potentially making a Marvel game. And that just got my brain going, and a lot of other people's brain going, well, I mean, they've been notorious for just doing DC content within their studio. Like, they did DC versus Mortal Kombat back in the day, and that was like their kind of introduction to the world of DC. And then you had Injustice, then Injustice 2. So, and now we're thinking, well, where's Injustice 3? And now this rumor comes out about them doing a Marvel game. So we're like, well, okay, so where do we start from here? So, look, I want to direct you back to an interview that you probably didn't see, but it's back in 2019. Like, I don't expect you to have the memory recall for that. So I'm gonna show this to you. So have a listen.
Ever had one conversation with Marvel about making a fighting game?
Yes.
What? When?
I did, but I probably shouldn't talk about it.
Are you excited about that idea?
Oh God, yes. We would love to make like a Marvel fighting game, or Marvel versus DC. I think would be the coolest.
I feel like it's a race between you and TT Games for getting that Marvel versus DC. I'm rooting for you guys.
Yeah.
Right. So you hear that interview, 2019, where he's, I don't know if he was meant to mention anything there, or he just slipped up. But I mean, this has been in talks for a while. Clearly, that discussions have happened previously for a Marvel game, and it's just interesting to me to hear that, because I mean, Warner Brothers have put out Marvel games. Like, they've put out all the Marvel Lego games, so it's not out of the realm of impossibility. You know, that it just won't happen. So, and just to touch on another subject here, because we've got Capcom that have been renowned for the Marvel vs. Capcom games, but in 2017 they released Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, and it just failed and bombed, and nobody liked it. It was a bad fighter, and all the characters looked weird, and the character rollout was just not good. No one liked it. Everybody went back to Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and if you still had a copy or emulation through Marvel vs. Capcom 2. So Capcom haven't talked about anything to do with another Marvel vs. Capcom, and with the with the Disney purchase of Marvel ever since, getting rights to all the characters have just gone out the window, and everything's changed. The landscape has changed. So I don't think that another Marvel vs. Capcom is going to be in the near future, right? And then we have this conversation here with NetherRealm Studio making a Marvel game. NetherRealm Studio, renowned for the best, arguably one of the best fighting games on the planet, which is Mortal Kombat. And Mortal Kombat 11 is just the highest bar for excellence for a fighting game. If Marvel wants a piece of that pie, I mean, you go to NetherRealm Studios, right? DC has been having it with 2 Injustice games now. Now, this interests me because there's been no talk about Injustice 3. Everything's gone quiet on that game. Neither NetherRealms or Warner Brothers have kind of talked about it, or Warner Brothers Games has talked about another Injustice, and talks has gone dead. So in my mind, I'm like, well, is this just early days for this Marvel game, or has this been in development for a couple of years already? I mean, since that interview, I mean, there's been talks clearly, but could Warner Brothers or WB Games, could they mandate that the possibility could happen to do a DC versus Marvel game? This is where my mind's kind of going, and I'm trying to build the road so you can understand my process here. But Disney have been opening up to other studios using their IP, and not just locked behind one studio. Like, they're just kind of going, here you go, what do you want? Make a game for it. Just open slather now, where it's been closed off for so long. And WB Games, they've published Marvel games, like, as I mentioned, the Marvel Lego games, and that's not just a small deal, right? Those are big names in those games. Just because it's Lego, don't discount it. I mean, those games are really good and fun. I own them all. They're really good fun. Like, I've got all the Lego Marvel, the Lego Avengers, the DC superhero Legos, whatever, Lego Batman 2 and 3, and I've got all that kind of crap. And they're just a good time to chill out with. So I'm not going to be against playing a DC or Marvel Lego game. So if you can follow my thought pattern here, could Warner Brothers be like, yeah, let's do a Marvel vs. DC game, and Disney could be like, yeah, no worries, let's do a Marvel vs. DC game. Like, both of them are kind of like, well, whatever. let's just make games. I wouldn't put the idea down that this could happen. But who knows, man? Like DC are pretty protective on their properties, and they can't even get their movies going. You know, I mean, obviously they're at the behest of Warner Media and AT&T and all that kind of stuff. But you know, I get it hasn't. It's happened before. DC versus Marvel comics have happened before in the past. There's a possibility that this can happen as a cross-promotional opportunity. You know, I think there's plenty of doorways that you can walk down to make this happen, besides like executive egos getting in the way of going, well, no, Marvel can stand on its own, or no, DC doesn't need that. You know, those kind of arguments that clearly happen behind the doors. And you know, how will this affect our character standing in the pop culture? And you know, if the story mode, if Superman is defeated by Captain America, like how will that affect the value of Superman in the pop culture space? And you know, obviously there's all that kind of conversation that's going to happen. And who knows, man? Like, if Batman takes down Iron Man's one of our hottest commodities right now, and how will that affect our value on that character? I hope they just leave all that aside and maybe just make the story mode as one giant team up against a giant threat, instead of making them all fight each other. I mean, you can fight each other in the versus mode and just get away with it that way. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but the concept is interesting. And it's only interesting because it's NetherRealm Studios, who have been known for doing those Injustice games and DC properties. And they've been so ingrained in DC. Like, DC published some Mortal Kombat comics and whatnot. So that's where the interest comes in when the rumors talked about NetherRealm's doing a Marvel fighting game. Would I just be fine with the Marvel fighting game and have the same treatment as the Injustice series has? Sure. Fantastic. Do I think it could do well? I mean, sure. Marvel vs. Capcom has been a popular franchise for quite some time, but will that then just get compared directly to Marvel vs. Capcom? Even though the fighting mechanics and fighting gameplay and all that kind of stuff is going to be entirely different. You know, it's not going to be the wacky jumping around all up in the air and, you know, 30 million hit combos and supers, and, you know, it's going to be more of a, you know, methodical fighter like Mortal Kombat is, or Injustice is. Will there be the comparison, like for the MVC, Marvel vs. Capcom, you know, loyalists? Will they just poo-poo on this idea because it's not the same thing? I don't know. There's going to be people out there, yeah, guaranteed, because people are afraid of things they don't understand and they hate change, and you know. But man, I'd be so down for this. If you look at the fidelity of Mortal Kombat 11 and Injustice 2, and just the production value that's put out in those two games in particular, you would be stupid to say no to this. I would love it. You know, and Marvel needs a bounce back through the Marvel's Avengers game that just fell on its ass. And you know, if they should be worried about the value of their IP, man, they need something to pick it up from that failure. That was a massive failure. So look, I'm trying to give these companies plenty of reasons that they should be doing it that makes sense, because there's people like me out there that are going, hot damn, yeah, give me all of that, thank you very much. Anyway, let me know what your thoughts are on this. Do you think I'm just like dreaming here of a useless dream? Will this never happen? Are there too many studio egos in the way for this to occur? Potentially, yes. But I will remain hopeful on it because I want it. Anywho, so that's topic number 2 for today. So we've got one more, and it's kind of a bit of a how's your father type of topic. So I'll just start with the elephant in the room that's been happening over the last few days. So back to some Zack Snyder's Justice League news, right? Okay, what you're seeing here is John Stewart Green Lantern filming in the driveway of Zack Snyder's home during the pandemic. They had planned for a physical suit, but due to the pandemic, they just opted for a CG one. And that is the official render, by the way, for the John Stewart Green Lantern, and that is the actor of Wayne T. Carr. And Zack Snyder's been posting these behind-the-scenes photos on his Vero and social media after what I'm about to show you came out. So, look at this, man. It wasn't like a pipe dream. He was doing it. And until Warner Brothers came knocking on his door saying, no, you can't use John Stewart because we've got a plan for him in a Green Lantern movie that who knows if that's ever going to happen. Who knows? I mean, the Green Lantern TV show on HBO Max doesn't even use Jon Stewart, and that's further along the production than the Green Lantern Corps movie that they're thinking about doing. You know, Guy Gardner is nobody wants Guy Gardner as a main character for a TV show. People love him. I don't really have a care for the character, but he's an annoying character that you can have in small doses. I don't think he can run a whole show. Prove me wrong, whatever. Anyway, so Warner Brothers saying, no, Zach, you can't use Jon Stewart. I don't want to connect the dots here, but in the Justice League version that was mandated by Warner Brothers, he cut out Iris West, he cut out Silas Stone for the most part, cut out Victor Stone's origin story and basically his whole arc, and then Jon Stewart. There's 4 black people there. Oh, and you know, Victor's mum as well. She wasn't in that first Justice League cut that Warner Brothers put out there into the world. There's all these like people of color, black people in this movie. Oh, and then you've got Ryan Choi. He's an Asian Chinese person. He was cut from the movie. So people of color, there's 5 or 6 people that I've just rattled off here that Joss Whedon and Warner Brothers cut out of the movie entirely. And you can see when you go watch Zack Snyder's Justice League, they're all there. And they're not just shoehorned in. They all have a place. They're all important. They all have their key moments. This was going to be another one. So what is this? What takes place here? I don't want to... I've connected the dots for you of what I'm saying. It's just, without saying it, but I will, it just seems like a lot of coincidences there that the Joss Whedon version of Justice League was very whitewashed and all the coloured people were cut out. You know, it's a bit racist, right? It's a lot of like, bit how's your father, bit on the nose. So when you come here and you've got this man, he's going to be the first Jon Stewart on live action for everyone to see. He's a generation's Green Lantern. He's not just an anyone character. He's a generation's Green Lantern, like how Jordan was for the Golden Age people, and you know, for most of the Silver Age. Kyle Rayner, who's kind of mine, you know, the Lantern of the 90s kids, you know, like Wally West, It's a Flash and all that. But then you've got Jon Stewart, who's been around for ages as well, like since the 70s. So he's not just a nobody character, like I said. So for him and the promise to be the first Jon Stewart in live action, and then to have it ripped away, like they've obviously filmed it, right? Look at that. That's behind the scenes photos. They did it. And then Warner Brothers like, no, don't do that. Cut that out. So Zack Snyder had to fight them and go, I want this scene in. This is meant to be my movie, and I need this scene in it. Give me Martian Manhunter at least, you know? And that's why Martian Manhunter is in it. It was a backup idea, and they had to get Ben back in to kind of reshoot it a little bit because the context is a bit skewed, as it's not Green Lantern, it's Martian Manhunter, and it's a bit of different dialogue, right? So it's that whole mess. So it's all filmed in his driveway. All of that, right? He's the way he put this movie together is just insane, and all his teams, it's just crazy. I can't believe he got it done. But anyway, so this has happened and come out after Warner Brothers posted this trailer. It's this 4K trailer for the Justice League, Joss Whedon's version. So you can see the ratio here. 78,000 dislikes to 3.8 thousand likes. Now this shot you're seeing right here, I can't play the full trailer because I'll get striked or copyright strike or whatever, but it's full of shots that aren't even in Joss Whedon's version. Go figure that one out. I don't understand the purpose of this. This came out and was uploaded 29th of April, so a handful of days ago. And ever since, everyone's like, WTF, what the hell does this mean? You know, why is this released at all? Because we've just had that Justice League movie came out, you know, 2 years ago or whatever. 2 years ago. It feels like 2 years ago, but longer than that. 3 or 4 years, whatever. I can't remember. But anyway, 2017, I think that's when it came out. And then you've put this trailer out for a movie that old and it's 4K, but why? There's no home release coming up for this. Zack Snyder's Justice League home release on Blu-ray 4K is coming out in a matter of days. You know, I've got that pre-ordered, and I've got the 4K re-release of Batman vs Superman with the IMAX scenes put back in. I've got both of those coming, and it's just, this comes out at such a weird time. So you can see that the comments down here are just everybody basically reiterating what I'm saying, like a massive WTF. Like there's me at the top there, and all these other people like, what? Like, why? How many times you have to be told? Like, kind of, all these people are just no, like, restore the Snyderverse. So, and just a slap in the face to Zack Snyder after everything he's gone through to get the movie happening, to get the movie out to people, to get a home release happening, and to put all the scenes together, and then he gets a slap in the face of this, right? Warner Brothers Entertainment posting a 4K version of a trailer for a movie that they mandated that has all these shots in it that aren't even in that movie, but Zack Snyder's shots, right? Like this, I'll try and skim through this shot and this whole scene. I can't play it for you, but this whole scene that they're showing here wasn't in the Joss Whedon one that came out a few years ago. That whole bit there, this whole bit here, part of that Amazon fight there wasn't in it. There's Steppenwolf, the original, not the original, the Joss Whedon Steppenwolf is in there. The color palette is different. There's the Russian kid for the Russian family. This Ben Affleck shot, that wasn't even in the Joss Whedon's movie at all, but there it is for us all to see. This is when he says, you know, I saw Wally West. I saw Barry Allen appear right here, you know, and he said Lois is the key. Like that whole scene. This is different. Like that's not in Zack Snyder's one. All this kind of stuff. This whole shot, that's a reshoot. You can see the color palette is different here. The final fight, it's all orange and red again, not the darker, like real kind of colors that are happening. This cape scene, that shot, that's not in Justice League. That's in Zack Snyder's movie. This cape where they see the hologram of Superman, and that the color palette is like so saturated, like all of this wasn't in the Joss Whedon version. So why are they using Zack Snyder's clips here in this trailer? This is representative of a movie that never happened, right? 100%. I wanted to bring it up because it just shows how wrong this Warner Brothers studio has become and how they can just spit in the face of their creators constantly. The amount of directors that went through DC properties and were meant to make DC films for Warner Brothers, almost a revolving door of creative differences. And you have to wonder why. So after this came out, people were tagging Zack on his social media about it, going, what is this about? What does this mean? You know, we just had this massive win in getting your movie happening. And then all this starts happening. And he's like, he left a comment on someone saying they've just crossed the line. Like I'd pull up the screenshot here, but I didn't save it in time and whatever, but just know that it's there, it's out there. Yeah, he posted a comment underneath someone going, they've just crossed the line. And then Ray Porter, who voiced Darkseid, posted his thoughts about this as well, and he agrees with Zack, saying, yeah, they definitely just crossed the line. Like something's happened here behind the scenes of, like, you know, the Ann Sarnoff is saying this movie is canon. This Justice League is canon, or is the main one that they're moving forward with. But then you know, we released the ones for the fans and me, which is just a far superior film, and you can still build on from that one with, you know, without it affecting your plans or whatever. But you can have a multiverse that you're trying to build, like your Flash movie is meant to be doing a multiverse. Why don't we just have both? I don't understand what's going on here. You know, I'd like to know and get to the bottom of who greenlit this to be uploaded, because it's caused a pretty big stir online in the community. A lot of questions. Obviously, I mean, Zack was unaware until he was made aware of it, and a lot of the actors as well were just like, what? And that's what made Zack post this kind of content of going, yep, there's more that they didn't let me do, even though they let me put the movie together. I just have zero faith. I said it last week, and that's why, like, half the reason why Unicron is standing behind me is because I got rid of the Superman statue back there. I love that statue, by the way, but I've had a gut full of Warner Brothers reactionary tactics and just backstabbing their directors. Zack isn't the only one. He's just been the most vocal because Justice League was such a massive movie. And it was meant to be big. And everything else that happened with him and his family, like, it's an infamous story that you just can't get around now. But there's other stories to be told with all the other directors that were meant to do the original Flash movie. There's like 4 or 5 different directors they went through for that. The Cyborg movie that was being in development, the Green Lantern Corps that was being in development. Wonder Woman 84 wasn't meant to happen. You know, there was some studio mandate in there for that movie, which might explain some of its problems. Birds of Prey wasn't meant to happen. That was a mishmash of 2 or 3 different scripts because of a mixture of ideas and directors. You know, it's and then you've got Suicide Squad. The David Ayers Suicide Squad that we saw wasn't the original cut. It's just like one story after another of these breadcrumbs throughout the last decade of like, how much can you screw this up? And now it's all coming to head, and they're trying to just bury it. Like, you've got the movie. Let's just release another Justice League trailer to kind of remind people that, yeah, this is the one they saw in the movies. Yeah, this one. But they can't even commit to using the right trailer that has actual footage from the movie that they're trying to back in it. Like, I'm so done. Like I said it last week, but as soon as I get my Steelbook edition of Zack Snyder's Justice League and my Ultimate edition of Batman vs Superman, I'm going to put those on the shelf and be like, yep, that'll do, pig. They've announced Fandom as well. I'm just going to take this off the screen now because I'm wrapping up. But they've announced DC Fandom for this year in October, and I don't really care. They've killed every bit of excitement that I had for their DC properties in the pipeline or that are even in discussions. There's no way you can build up the same kind of hype that you had with everything that you've got now. You've damaged your fan base. It is not going to happen. Yeah, there's a lot more people out there in the world than those of us that are making the noise, but you have to understand how you've messed up. You don't damage your main fan base like that. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry. But anyway, these are just my thoughts on all of this that's been going on, right? It's a mess. I'm looking forward to whatever Marvel does next after this Phase 4 that they're doing, because Phase 4 is a stopgap, let's be real. So until they start pumping their movies out again and give us some extra big experiences, I'll just dibble-dabble a little bit and then experience things like Invincible or the other hero type properties that are out there. Plenty out there, and then I've got this big boy to enjoy in the meantime and get into some Transformers lore and some Mortal Kombat lore. Like, there's so many other stuff out there, I've been a DC fan forever, but I'm just about done, to be honest. Not to repeat myself from last week, but I just gave you some evidence as to why that I explain my displeasure. So anyway, that's episode 7 for today. It's a little bit shorter on this one, but that's fine. Not everything needs to be an hour, and I kind of ran through some quick points there, but next week, depending on what happens during the week, we'll have an episode 38, and we'll be back here again. And I will be upgrading this microphone coming up. I know that this microphone has been crackling quite often during my recordings, and I've tried fixing it. I even built a whole new computer to try and fix the problem because I thought it was all the USB ports on my old PC, but alas, even with a new PC, the problem still exists, and it's not the cable. Tried another cable. I think this microphone is just on his way out. He's about 7 or 8 years old now, so he's about due for retirement. I have a solution. I just need to pay for it over hopefully the next few weeks or next month. I'll pick up a new microphone, and we'll hopefully get rid of that problem, and it'll sound even better with the software that comes with it. So I can't wait to show that off and get that happening for you and I, and have a better audio experience. And then next, it is replacing that camera. That is also about 7 or 8 years old. So hopefully I can invest in some kind of clearer camera, like a DSLR or something like that, or just something real clear and crispy, or at least something that's, everything's a bit blurry and the refresh rate's a bit dodged, but I'm coming up with solutions. Ever since I've crossed the 1,000 subscribers mark, I've been wanting to kind of up the game a little bit. So just hang in there with me. Not that I've been having complaints, no one's been mentioning it, but I hear it every time I review my content, and it annoys me. And when I see that, I wish it was clearer and crisper. So, without further ado, and I hate using that term, I'm going to punch myself in the face after I'm done here. There's a story behind that. There's some phrases that I refuse to say myself because there's so many people out there use them over the top on YouTube, and I hate it. So yeah, I'm going to go punch myself in the face. But in the meantime...
And may the power protect you.
Till all are one! Bumblebee tuna!
Yes, enjoy yourselves. I'll see you next week. And keep an eye out for my Unicron video over the next day or so. I'm going to get it uploaded, and you can see just what I mean. Cool. All right. Toodaloos all. Have fun.
Like, comment, subscribe.